couple of weeks ago I received some watches from Erebus, Jody and Stephen, for me to photograph for their website. This is a brand new model and it's called the Titan. Now after handling these watches for the last 2 weeks in photographing them as well as wearing them, I've got to tell you, they're pretty impressive. They're not for me, they're a big watch, and when I say a big watch, who are they for? Well, basically there's an audience that even I get people saying, Pete, when are you going to review bigger watches? When are you going to review something more substantial? Well, that's what I've got here. These watches are designed for the bigger wrist, but put all that aside, they haven't just made a bigger watch by saying, look, let's get the Erebus origin and let's just make it bigger, or the GMT and so forth. They've actually designed the watch that's pretty much fully spec'd out. And when I say fully spec'd out, let me give you some specs. You got 500 meters of water resistance instead of 2, and that includes a helium escape valve for saturation diving. Now all of these watches have hardness coating, which is great, but the 2 black ones also feature DLC, diamond light coating. Now that's all great for the outside, but internally they also have Vuitton gaskets and seals. So what I've observed and felt throughout my time with these watches is better quality stuff internally as well as externally. Now the lume on these watches has also been exceptional. Erebus has always made great stuff. Jody's a stickler when it comes to lume. So the lume on these watches is great. If you dim the lights, these things glow and glow and glow like a torch. I have zero complaints in this department. And one of their watches actually features a fully lumed dial, the white one. Again, that's another nice touch. Now it's not all roses. I will get to my gripes and room for improvement section. I have found a couple of areas which personally I did not like about the watch, and I'm going to share that with you guys, but overall the watch has been an absolute spec monster. Because looking at that bracelet, you've got a nice engineer style bracelet, very, very solid. The articulation is great, it's got screw pins and a nice solid toolless on the fly micro adjustable clasp. So specs wise, they've bumped this watch up. They've not just made a bigger watch like a bigger origin or something, they've really given it steroids. Now diving into the specs of this watch, I measure a case diameter of 44 and a case height of 15mm. With an impressive lug of 48.7, the watch has actually worn well throughout the week. Now that crown is a 7.7mm signed screw down crown. The watch offers 500 meters of water resistance, and the total weight on the supplied bracelet sized to my 18cm wrist, I measure exactly 230 grams. Now 230 grams, that's a beast. That is a beast of a watch, literally. But I think it suits the name, Titan. But all jokes aside, the watch actually feels rock solid. Because wearing this watch on the wrist, surprisingly for a heavy watch, it actually feels really balanced. The height to the top of that crystal coming in at 15mm might seem high, but take away that dome, you're really looking at about a 13.8mm case height. The comfort on the bracelet's been good, albeit it is a heavy watch. Now looking closely at the bezel of these watches, you've got a 120 click unidirectional. They feature a ceramic insert which is lume filled, and the action of these bezels have been very good. A nice click and ratcheting system with only minimal amount of backplay, and they line up absolutely perfect. Now there's a couple of unusual dials in the mix which I thought were quite interesting, and one of them was that meteorite dial. I think it's got a very interesting look, it behaves nicely in different lighting scenarios, but there's also this obsidian stealth dial. It's dark, it's moody, so offering a little bit of character in these dials has brought some very interesting visual features to look at. Now with all of these specifications, it obviously comes at a premium, and that's where I think Erebus has managed to maintain this at a very reasonable price. Because looking at their pricing structure, the pre-order pricing is $349 USD. The DLC and fully lume version come in at $389, and the mineral meteor versions coming at $449. So in my eyes, that's a very decent price for what you're getting spec wise. But with all that said, what are my gripes and room for improvement of these watches? Well, first and foremost, the weight. This is a heavy watch. Coming in at 230 grams on the bracelet, and that's sized to my 18cm wrist, it's like yielding Thor's hammer. It really made me feel like a demigod. But all jokes aside, I think this watch is designed for a specific audience. And if you're after a much larger watch, then I'm sure you're prepared for the heft that does come alongside with it. That's part and parcel of having a watch like this. There is an easy fix. Wear the watch on a rubber strap. Simple. And I think having a lug-to-lug of 48.7, it is also wearable and comfortable for smaller wrist sizes. But make sure you have your protein shake first, just in case. Next observation for me has been that sapphire crystal. Because of the nature of that curve on that sapphire, it will pick up some reflections, especially in outdoor environments. So that's pretty much unavoidable. However, in the glass's defense, I think the anti-reflective coatings are done on a very high level and do not have any color casts whatsoever. So keeping a watch at this price point with all these specs, obviously there's a trade-off somewhere, and the only thing that I can see with this watch is the movement. You got an NH series movement in this watch, which allows the watch to be very affordable and won't make any big dents in our back pockets. And honestly, when push comes to shove, using an NH series movement in a watch like this is probably the right choice. It's robust, it's solid, reliable. Seiko's been using them for years in their divers. I don't see why it shouldn't find proper place in a watch like this. Let me know what you guys think of this brand new Titan from Erebus. Are you demigod enough to yield this spec monster on your wrist? Can you handle the V8? But again, all jokes aside, I think for their intended purpose and audience, going out and making a watch that is also within the budget of our wallets, Erebus seems to have produced something pretty impressive here. If you've made it this far into the video, you've done well. Feel free to hit that like and subscribe button because it really does help the channel to grow. Continue to enjoy this hobby and the watch that's on your wrist, and we'll see you in the next one.